So I guess let's continue with Kyiv. I don't know if I can call it Kyiv the Return, Kyiv Harder, Kyiv 2.5, A View to a Kyiv. I don't know. So, like I said, there's so much to do in Kyiv that I wanted to split it up because I think maybe 10 plus minutes of kind of the same thing in one video is a bit boring. So here's some more of our favorite spots of Kyiv. Near the Lavra Monastery is the Rodina Mat, the 203-foot tall stainless steel motherland statue, inaugurated in 1981 by Soviet leader Brezhnev. You can't miss this if you're looking in its direction. It's massive. And if you didn't know for some reason that you're in a former Soviet republic and you look at this thing, now you know. Today it stands over a war museum, and if you want, you can go to the viewing platforms, but we didn't because, you know, heights. The area is fun to walk around, and there are all kinds of Soviet-era sculptures with the usual chiseled men. Also, the shield still has the state emblem of the Soviet Union, which for good reason is getting harder to find in Ukraine. While we did enjoy the food in Kyiv, I'm not nearly as passionate about it as I was about the food in Lviv. Either way, there are plenty of options for vegans and vegetarians if that's your thing. Kelsey's vegetarian, so often it's just easier for me to find vegetarians so we can both eat. Our Airbnbs were near the Universitet metro station, and there was no shortage of places to eat, but we kept going back to a place called Green 13. It's vegan, they have free Wi-Fi, and they do takeout, or if you're British, they do takeaway. If you speak Spanish, they do para llevar. Everything there is made from scratch, so I recommend eating it right then or keeping it in the fridge. Like, don't take it with you if you're going to be out and about and the food's going to get hot in the middle of the afternoon. It's not going to turn out good for you. The supermarket next to Green 13 had some really good Kyiv cookies, and if you find these, they're usually fruit-filled. The best ones are cherry. Cherry is a popular flavor there. Another recommendation is Puzata Hata. It's a cafeteria-style chain restaurant, so you just go in, grab a tray, get in line, and get one of everything. And what's good, they do take credit cards, and there's actually a little small fee for silverware. They advertised kvass on the wall, and there was a tap. I saw it, but nobody was there to man it, and I was directed to the coffee bar, and it was on their menu, and the woman said, no, we don't have it. Like, they flat out didn't have it. Kyiv does have the usual amount of coffee places, although if you like strong coffee, I would take a hard pass on the RAF coffee. It's mostly milk. We managed to find a Mexican restaurant near the Chernobyl Museum. Everything we ordered was fresh, and the margarita was amazing. There was also the usual continuation of our theme of not everything on the menu is available. I tried to order churros, and the person said that they were over, which meant that they were out of them for the day. But hey, at least everything is fresh and not from the freezer. Plus, it gave us an excuse to stop at more places for dessert and coffee. I think the Chernobyl Museum can be better appreciated if you've done the Chernobyl tour. Because the whole thing was such a disaster, it's a miracle they managed to collect this much memorabilia and present it for us to see. The tickets are reasonable, and the audio tour is well worth your time. You'll need to take the metro to get there because it's way further out than a lot of the other sites. We took the 1 line and changed to the 2 line at Independence Square and got off at Kontraktova Plasha and walked a few blocks to the museum. The journey takes a little over 30 minutes and costs 8 hryvnias, which at this point is 32 cents each way. We used our phones to direct us to the museum, and if you see a line of old vehicles and a tank, you found it. After ducking into a cafe to avoid a heavy rainstorm, we headed over to another Atlas Obscura suggestion, the Statues of Peeing Colors. It pretty much speaks for itself. After seeing this, we accidentally happened upon a park with all kinds of Alice in Wonderland tiled playground equipment. So, Kelsey, tell me, was this a random find?
It was a random find.
Yes, and are we stuffed when we didn't plan to be stuffed?
Yeah, but it was good.
It was very good.
It was dobra.
Yeah, dobra pizza. So, this has kids stuff and cats. I don't know, what is this, like 70s, 80s kind of style?
No,
I don't really know. It's all tiles. So let's take a look around here. People are in taking pictures and trying not to photobomb everybody. So let's get out of this area. We've got the kids' faces. It's a little bit creepy. And yeah, so let's check out the cats. There's cats that you can get into. Further outside of Kyiv is the Pyrogovo Open Air Museum. This spread out attraction has folk architecture and examples of life from different regions of Ukraine. There is also a beautiful wooden church. Your best bet is to take an Uber here. We were lucky enough to be driven by some locals who we were put in touch with by a friend. If you can meet up with locals, this is always your best option in any city you're visiting. In our case, we were lucky enough to spend a couple days with Oksana and Misha, who love Kyiv and have lived the vast majority of their lives there. We didn't realize at the time we were hanging out with opera star tenor Misha Didik. This was an added bonus to our trip, and we made new friends in the process. They also took us to a Georgian restaurant called Chachapuri, which was fantastic. So I guess our last couple days in Kyiv were what I'd call adventurous. So we've had kind of minor Airbnb mishaps before. In Ireland, we left a place because we thought it was so filthy. In Bulgaria, in this town we were in, the entire town lost water for like a day and a half. And then even in Lviv, we lost power for part of the day right after we had shot a video explaining what to do if you were in this situation. Are we running late today?
Yes, we are.
And why are we running late today?
Because the Airbnb where we were staying, they got evicted, and we had to move out from that Airbnb into another Airbnb, and then those people didn't show up either.
Yes, so the Airbnb we were in was very nice, and we loved it. It was very artsy, and unfortunately the ambitious young couple who, they're super hosts through Airbnb, they don't own the apartment. They rent from somebody else, and that somebody else wants the apartment back. And instead of their lawyer kind of forcing the 30-day or whatever, which seems to exist here, they've decided that they need to move all their furniture out today. So we also had to move, and we had to get a last-minute Airbnb, which luckily we found kind of down the street. But otherwise, and then we had to wait and put our stuff in that one, even though we can't check in until noon. And then nobody showed up to let us in, and the maid came down. But anyway, we're going to make the most of it here in Kyiv. We're going to do Independence Square. We're going to eat and see the sights, because this city's been amazing, and it's a nice day. So the couple was nice enough to let us stay in the apartment probably longer even than they needed to get their stuff moved out. So luckily we did find another apartment pretty much right away. It was only another block from where we were staying. So we packed up our stuff and then headed over there like the next morning. This was the main annoyance. Our time there was almost up, and we had to pack, get to the new place, unpack, and then repack again to leave Ukraine. So we ended up calling Airbnb customer service, and they were great. We originally wouldn't have had to do it, but the couple kind of didn't want to give us all the money back for the last night in the apartment. So we had Airbnb kind of get both sides of the story, and they helped us out and then ended up giving us like a little bit more credit, which was amazing. So I guess the takeaway is always be sure and be a little bit flexible with your time. I mean, as long as there's no danger, just get yourself rebooked and your stuff moved and continue with your day like we did. So the Kyiv airport is more than 20 miles outside the city, and traffic in Kyiv is terrible. So when it is time for you to leave, be sure and plan accordingly. The airport is easy enough to check into. The lot desk was fine, very efficient, but just be warned,
The food prices at the Kyiv airport are really gouged, and this is coming from somebody whose home airport is LAX. So that ends our Ukraine adventure. It was unbelievable, and we can't wait to go back. The order of Odessa, Lviv, and Kyiv was perfect for us. So if you're thinking about it, I would say do not hesitate. Book those flights and those train tickets and get to Ukraine.